Well, howdy everybody. Jughead here. Dakota's laying over there. He's pouting on the floor. I know right now a whole bunch of my friends are out at Oshkosh. Unfortunately, we're healing up from knee surgery number 10. Hopefully the last one. So I thought it was time to bring you my latest video. A couple months ago, I was having lunch with my wife down by the airport. Looked up, saw this beautiful J-3 Cub flying over that's based there at Harvey. And I was saying to myself, boy, it's about time I need to get back into a J3. It sure would be nice to go enjoy flying one of those classics again. Well, it wasn't about 2 days later, I get a text message on one of my social media accounts from a gentleman out of Colorado. And he had been watching some of my YouTube videos of me ferrying the J3. We had the Texas to Montana run, and we had the wintertime run from Washington to Sheridan, Wyoming. Well, he had just bought a J3 down in Tucson, Arizona, had flown down from his home in Durango and tried to get it home, and the weather interrupted his efforts. He was then looking at being out of the country for about a month and a half, so he reached out to me to see if I'd be interested in trying to get that airplane ferried up to its new home form. I didn't have a lot of time on the schedule between work, college graduation for my daughter, and my upcoming knee surgery, but I did find a little window there that I had a chance of maybe getting it done. So I threw together a quick proposal for him, sent it off. 2 days later, we were under contract, and this is going to be version 1 or episode 1 as I head down to Arizona and pick up a beautiful J3, trying to get it back as quick and as efficiently and safely as I can to Durango, Colorado. Welcome along for the ride. Well, my initial plan looked like about a 2-day run from Tucson up to Durango. Well, here we are pulling up to the hangar. It's always a neat surprise to open the door and lay your eyes on a new airplane for the first time that you're going to have the honor to get to fly for that new owner. Oh, nice. Gotta like a clean floor underneath a Continental. I wish my Continental was dry.
Well, yeah, it does not.
Yeah, we had ourselves a little bit of a leak on the fuel sump. We've pulled that out, put the plug in to keep from draining the whole fuel tank, and we've rebuilt the sump, and hopefully we've got a good one here ready to go back in. All right, we finally got all the pre-flight done, everything loaded up, and I'm taxiing over to the fuel pumps now. And as I pull up to them, I notice the fuel tanker is there delivering a new load of fuel, which is not something I usually like to see. One, it can stir up stuff in the tank. Sometimes it takes a few minutes before you can access that fuel because they've got to do testing of it. And so I was hoping that was not going to be a bad sign and cause any delays for me. Well, I was wrong. All right, first part's done. Always something unexpected. We had the fuel leak on the right wing sump, and pull up, the fuel truck is filling up. Luckily he just pulled away, so hopefully we won't have too much of a delay. Right now it's 2 o'clock. We've got the ADSB waiver to get into Willie filed. A little bit windier than I'd like, but it's only blowing 10 to 15 here. It's blowing 10 up north, so it's not going to be a problem. And we'll go get at least an hour 20 out of the way, get to where it's an efficient start tomorrow. So we're gonna top off the fuel and keep going. Whew. It's always something on these ferry trips. It doesn't matter how new the airplane, how old the airplane, whatever. As I told you earlier, went to do the fuel sump, and the O-ring in the sump started to break down. We pulled the sump, put a plug in, went and got new O-rings for the sump. That's finally good to go. We got over here to the fuel pump. Fuel truck was here at the time. He pulled away just as I did. Threw in the credit card. Pumps were offline. And then I started getting text messages from my banks of fraud alerts. So 4 phone calls and text messages to 2 different banks to get everything turned back on. Yes, I'm really here, I'm really buying this. Guy finally came over, got the fuel pumps turned back on, had to reboot that system. So a 40-minute fuel stop, which normally should have been about a 10-minute fuel stop. We are back in the airplane, getting ready to go. It is it's almost 3 o'clock now, about 45 minutes behind schedule. Going to be an hour 10-15 up to Williams Gateway. I've got the ADSB approval for going underneath the veil without so while I was waiting for the fuel pump situation to all get corrected, this was parked right out in front, kind of hard to miss, and it sure piques your curiosity. Talking to a couple local guys and reading the safety report, they had landed, and as they taxied clear of the runway, they failed to clear in front of them and taxied out in front of I think it was a Steen Skybolt, and obviously propellers and wingtips don't mix. Tough day on a couple nice airplanes. All right, we are finally back in it, fired up, and we are ready to depart Orion Field. We have made sure that all the paperwork's in place, the airplane's ready to go, the waivers are filed, checking just a few last minute things, making sure everything's good to go before we get airborne. All right, we are airborne. Look around the south side of the mountains there, just to the north of Orion Field, and it will lead me right on up to Marina Air Park, where a good old friend Marcus Payne used to be, and sure miss you, Marcus. And then not long after that, you're up at one of the boneyards, Pinnell Air Field, and like many places, just full of airliners that are being mothballed. This one kind of had 2 different flavors. Had a bunch of 747s along the south and west side, and then up on that northeast flank there were probably 100 RJ jets. But always sad to see this many airplanes being parked in mothballs, especially the old Queen of the Skies of the 747. Boeing even has one of their dream lifters here. Well, with Pinnell behind us, basically followed the freeway up and then ran just east of Eloy to avoid the jumping, but I think it was hot and windy enough they weren't jumping anymore. Went by Coolidge where there were just a couple jets still on mothball status there, and then it was lined up on like a 20-mile final to Willie, which in a J-3 Cub takes a long time. I actually was reassigned the runway 3 times while on final. As we were taxiing in, several interesting airplanes on the ramp here at Willie. Of course, the fire tanker base with their tanker 10 and the Neptunes there. I'm not sure exactly what the 37s are doing there, and then a bunch of the lead airplanes, and of course it was then ready for some cold drink. I might have been hot and thirsty. We got the beer, the soda, and the water, and I finished all three of them, and of course some good food there in the old OSS building. Howdy, we'll be tying down for the night.
Oh, you're gonna be able
Yeah.
to tie? Okay, yeah, we'll go to a tie down then.
Okay.
All right, sorry about that.
That's all right.
Yeah, he's gonna be overnight.
I will admit, having the electric start is handy in a situation like this. How you doing today?
Good, man. You got your giant breed here, man.
Yeah, well, she's not mine. We're taking her to Durango, Colorado tomorrow for the new owner.
Oh, well, he's gonna be a happy man.
He is. And
Fantastic.
she's a 46 model. She's a good airplane. Kind of nice. The temps came down the last 2 days.
Sure did. They're
yeah.
terrible now. Yeah. They sure did.
I only came out of Tucson, but even getting this hour and a half off this afternoon makes for a lot shorter day tomorrow.
Heck yeah, man. Oh yeah.
Before I forget, update all the update all the people. I gotta let them know.
Yeah. And we're 24/7. Show up.
We're gonna be about a sunrise tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we'll be here.
Here's something you just don't see very often, a Honda Jet. Unfortunately, some of those have had some problems lately. 311 Hotel Juliet. It's a cool looking airframe. Unique engine mounts. MCI. Brakes are off, she's okay to tow. So the Air Force folks out here obviously know this is the old Williams Air Force Base. This is the old Operational Support Squadron. This looks really familiar if you've worked on an Air Force flight line. Squadron building's over here. And one of the restaurants in here actually still has ceiling tiles that are painted with the class patches on them. A lot of history left in this place. It's glad to see that it didn't go away when Williams closed it. This is the airfield where I had my very first jet ride, T-37 ride as an RTC cadet, right on this ramp. It was a hot day. A little different now flying that J-3. Show them the overhead view and then the precise aim point of a bunch of T-37 landings. I'm not sure what kind of bird this was, but I'm pretty sure Dakota would still want to hunt it up. Kind of cute thing though. Gotta like it. The brewing company right on the airport. Great collection of military zaps on here. Recognize quite a few of these. A couple of my old squadrons. Yep. There's 87th, my T-38 squadron. That is an IP. But what they don't have and what they need is this right here. All right, looking good. Hey, Papa, there's one for you. Well, with a good dinner and a couple good drinks, that is a wrap on day one. We are just going across the street to the hotel, looking to have a sunrise departure out of here tomorrow. Come along for episode 2 of the J-3 Tucson to Colorado, Durango.